there. We're going live. Hey, everybody, it's Sean Shapiro from Traffic Services. We're going live on TikTok. We are, in fact, live on TikTok. I'm going to hit that mirror button so we're looking in the right way. This is what we do generally Monday to Friday for an hour. We go live on TikTok. And now we're doing the live simulcast where we're also on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Restream. All those fun places where you can jump on and ask questions, and we'll answer them. Mostly me now, because I'm the face on the screen. On TikTok, you only see me. If you're watching on any of the other platforms, you'll also see Q. Q is one of our moderators. She's a volunteer, not a police officer, helps us out on the whole stream, and is one of the many moderators that we have joining us. Now, they're in the chat room. They are helping to keep it classy. We want to make sure that it's a safe environment, that no one's being spammed, that no one's being abused, because sometimes people are rude, and rude isn't fun. So that's why there's moderators. If you are misbehaving, they are going to mute you so you can't do any more damage. Hopefully we can all get along. We can get to everyone's questions, and let's get into it. Just another thing, I don't look at the chat, so you're only being seen by moderators in the chat. I'm dealing specifically in the Q&A section, and if you're on the other platforms, I do see the chat because it's basically the Q&A section. So with that, 30 people in the room, good morning. We've got another 10 people on the other channels, and this tends to go crazy. So how do we get it to go crazy? It's when you double tap the screen and show us you like us. So please like on TikTok, double tap the screen. When you like the live, you will actually help others find us by double tapping. So please do that. Thanks very much. It'll advertise us amongst the crowd. Let's get into a couple of things, and as more people jump into the room, I'll reintroduce myself again. Okay. Can you wear headphones while riding a motorcycle? So first off, we're specifically addressing Ontario. Outside of Ontario has different rules, different laws. In Ontario, however, you are permitted to wear headphones, whether you're riding or driving a motorcycle or a motor vehicle. You can have both ears covered. It doesn't actually affect you legally. Is it safe? It is less safe, but I will also bring attention to the fact that you don't have to have hearing in order to drive. So it's not something that is illegal. So we're moving on. But there's the answer. And Gucci across all platforms. Awesome. Thanks, Q, for letting us know what's going on. Okay. Neon says, boop his nose. Yes, they are suggesting by hitting that screen, you're liking and spreading the good word. Also, if you want to invite your friends, your family, even people you don't like, by sharing it to your friends, bring them all in because we can get their questions answered. Do police get free Timmy's? That's a question that's being asked. Timmy's being a coffee shop in Canada and the United States. Everyone should know what Timmy's is. You know what? Sometimes people want to give us free coffee. Sometimes they don't. We're very happy to pay for it. We're not looking to get a free coffee. But sometimes people are very nice and they do. Usually I will make a donation or pay for the next person's coffee in line because accepting free coffee isn't something I'm looking for. But I do appreciate the sentiment. It's very nice that people want to do nice things for us. Let's see here. Just for anyone who's watching and wants to jump into our Discord, we have a Discord invitation link on screen. That is where the communication never ends. We have a group of folks who are talking about everything, and very often it's people who are viewing on our live on a regular basis. They know lots of stuff, and they chat about it all the time. So if you want to take a screen grab, it's right there. All right, moving on. Just a good morning to Big Jeff Fresh, who threw out a hello in our YouTube side. Good morning, Jeff. Jeff is a regular, a friend to the show. Okay, good question here in regards to exhaust systems. Is there a decibel limit for exhausts? Now, it depends if we're talking from a Highway Traffic Act perspective, if you're talking about a safety perspective, if you were talking about motorcycles. So yes, there's all sorts of things. So from a mechanic's perspective, we've been told that it is 74 decibels in order for it to be meeting the standard. Now, if it's a motorcycle, at idle in the city of Toronto specifically, you can be no louder than 92 decibels. But when you're talking about just unnecessary noise, regardless if you are making your noise by way of your exhaust system, your stereo system, or your horn, if it's unnecessary, if you're disrupting the world around you, you can expect to be charged under the Highway Traffic Act. And there's no specific decibel rating in order to meet the grade for that. Okay. Question from Ace: can I drive 120 kilometers over the speed limit on the QEW? There are sections of the QEW that allow you to do 110, I believe. That's a new thing. But no, you're not allowed to speed. The speed limit is a speed limit. If it's posted, that's the speed you can go. If it says 100, 100 is how fast you can go. I'm always shocked at how many people who want to know how much faster than the posted legal limit can they go. Well, the legal limit's the legal limit. What car tints go where? Thank you, Neon, one of our moderators. He knows how much we love to talk about tint. Much appreciated. Anyway, tint is a wonderful topic that we talk about all too often on this show. And just before I get into the tint, welcome to the 173 people watching on TikTok and the 10 that are on the other platforms. We're having a great time. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and we're answering your traffic and police questions right here. Throw them in the Q&A. I'll see them. We got lots of moderators helping out in the chat as well. Safe Drivers in here, so welcome to you. Thank you for dropping in. And back to tints, because everyone wants to know about tints. So the basic thing is you can't obscure the interior of the vehicle. You can't make it so we can't see in. Now, the guides suggest 30% on the windows to left and right of the driver are legit because new cars can have up into that limit. That's permissible. In the back windows, you can go as dark as you want. That's not a big deal. But the front window, the front windshield, can't be tinted at all. Save and except for vehicles manufactured before 2017, so 2016 and older, would be allowed to have a brow across the top of 3 inches, no more, and no more than the PS1 line. So if you had only 2 inches to the PS1 line, my interpretation of what I've read in the guide is that you can go no more than the PS1 line or to a maximum of 3 inches. And that's it. So nothing on the front windshield for tint, and then maximum of 30% light blockage. That's a big thing. 70% of the light has to come through. And if you can't see what I can see, but I can see someone making funny faces on the other side. Q is demonstrating the what the brow looks like. Okay. And just to let you know, our volunteers, our moderators are all volunteers. They're not police officers. They're not paid by the service. They are simply volunteers who have committed to helping us out with our streaming efforts and doing the things we do here so we can be doing it smoothly and getting to everyone's questions. Are you more likely to get pulled over with a modded car? It depends. It's behavior based. So if your modded car is loud, it's the loud that's going to be causing you to be pulled over. If your modded car has illegal, things on it, then it's the illegality of the modifications that are going to get it. If you're speeding, it's the speeding that's good. It's behavior based, behavior and issues. Just modifying a car, making it your own, isn't going to guarantee a pullover. But very often people modify them illegally, so that is an issue. Let's see here. Okay. So is there any way that I can book my G2 earlier? G2 earlier than what? You mean earlier because it's busy or earlier because you don't yet qualify for your G2? So if you just got a G1 and you want to book your G2, you need to wait 12 months unless you have approved driver training, and then you need to go ahead and you get down to 8 months instead of 12 because you have approved driver training. But if you just can't book a test because you're having difficulty, then that's a different situation altogether. Then you just need to be diligent and go onto the drivetest.ca site and continuously check for new dates because they do come up. Let's see here. What police vehicles do department use? So Toronto Police uses primarily the Ford Explorer for our patrol vehicles. The Tauruses are being phased out, and that's the deal. It's primarily those. Do we have others? Yeah, we have some F-150s for specialty vehicles. We have some of the what's it called? The smaller. I just said the name. I was going to call it a Tempo for a second, but those are being phased out. So really, it's the Explorer. I'm trying to see what Taurus. That's what it is. I just said it and I forgot it. See. But that's the focus. We have some other stuff. We have minivans. We have all sorts of stuff. We have some cool stealth vehicles as well. But more often than not, you're going to see the Explorer. How much would driver's education really save on insurance? I have no idea. I'm not an insurance broker. I don't speak to pricing. I understand that it is a significant discount, but I don't know what significant is anymore. It's been driving for a whole lot of years because I is old. Okay. What is the 0 to 60 time of police vehicles? I have no idea. We're not worried about acceleration on a track kind of situation. Is driver's education really worth it? From a training and safety perspective, absolutely. From accelerating your learning process to be able to get your G2 faster, your road to freedom is 8 months instead of 12. I heavily endorse professional training. You want to avoid having the bad habits that your friends and family who might be teaching you. You want to be set up for success, and a driver training course is going to do that for you. Hey, speaking of driver training courses, driver training puts you to the equivalent of 3 years of experience. That's from the Safe Driver. He is a instructor of instructors. He is a podcaster. He is a blogger. He is a TikToker. So follow the Safe Driver. He is often joining us on the show. We do a show at 10:15 most days, and once a week, the Safe Driver is a guest on that show. He is a friend, and he's a good guy. So thank you for that answer. I didn't know that it was a 3-year experience rating that you got. Let's see here.
Are there many civilian posts?
Are there many civilian posts within the Toronto Police Service, like jobs? There's tons of civilian posts. So we have uniform positions as a police officer, but we have uniform positions that are civilian. We have clerks. We have tons and tons of jobs. Analysts, programmers, support people, communications operators. There are many, many jobs available within the Toronto Police Service that are not uniform positions. Ryan wants to know about double towing. Trailer in a boat, not permitted. Commercial vehicles can double tow in specific situations. Double towing otherwise is not permitted. In Ontario. Okay, if you're interested in a job with the Toronto Police Service, check out www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. Tons of information about all the positions that we're looking for. We're also always sharing things on LinkedIn. A lot of our members act as ambassadors that are constantly sharing information because we want to attract great people to this great organization. And if you're interested in a career with us, definitely reach out to our employment unit. Excuse me while I hydrate. It's bubbly, bubbly, bubbly water. Okay. Best strategy to deal with tailgaters? Move out of the way. Let them get past you. It's not worth getting into a match to see who's tougher. Just get out of the way when it's safe to do so, and let them continue along their path. Let them be dangerous somewhere else, and get out of their way. You don't want them anywhere near you. Okay.
Apparently now, Sean, ASMR with Sean Wen, the other Sean in YouTube. Can you drive with a car or with a dog in the back of your car, in the truck?
In the back of a flatbed? So an animal in the back of your flatbed is going to be an insecure load. It's dangerous for them. It's dangerous for other drivers in the event of a collision. It's not nice. It's also something that may result in a charge. So ultimately, they should be secured by a harness inside the motor vehicle where they're going to be safest and away from an airbag. Okay. Stephen Bell says, good morning. Good morning to you too, Stephen. Let's see. King of Blockchain wants to know if I know routes for temporary driving centers. I do not. And ultimately, you don't need to know the route. You need to know how to drive. Studying for the test allows you to get past the test. That doesn't make you a good driver. If you're a good driver, it doesn't matter where you're driving. You'll be a good driver. So don't focus on where you are going. Focus on the rules of the road and knowing what you need to know. Let's see here. Thank you for all TPS doing a fantastic job daily. Thank you very much, Sam Can. What just happened? I lost you for a second there. Did we have a delay? Something happened. I got a weird alert. Anyway, thank you very much. Much appreciated. We love doing what we do. That's why we chose to do this job. We like helping people. And always appreciate when we hear shout outs back that you appreciate what we do. So thank you very much. Drive test. Okay, so Temp drive test center locations. There's one in Oshawa. There's one in, I've already forgotten what it is, Guelph. There's one, there was two that we just talked about in our recent posts, and it's going to be at 2 GO stations, Burlington and Mount Joy. But if you go to the MTO website, they're going to have details about that in their recent media launch information, as well as drivetest.ca will show it. Okay. E-bikes that look like motorcycles, thoughts. E-bikes that look like motorcycles to me, are barely e-bikes. They have to have pedals to qualify. They have to go no faster than 32 kilometers an hour. The problem is I'm seeing e-bikes that go far beyond 32 kilometers an hour, and those aren't e-bikes anymore. The legislation, well, it doesn't cover them. So they become motorcycles requiring license, ownership, and insurance. And yeah, that's a problem. So whether they're gas powered or they're electric, if they're going beyond the 32 kilometers an hour, they are, well, actually, gas is a whole separate situation. They're motor vehicles. There is no exemption for them. They are just motorcycles, and requiring them. We spoke to a rider who was on one yesterday. He was shocked to find out he was illegally operating that vehicle on the road. But e-bikes that just looking like them isn't an issue. The fact is that when they go faster, that's the problem. Okay. East Gwillimbury, thanks, Q. On September 20th, they're opening another location, East Gwillimbury, on September 20th. Okay. Thanks, Pepe. It says, great show. Why would an OPP car have an out-of-service sign? It may be operated by a mechanic that's transporting it simply for service purposes, and it's not a police officer, so they may want to designate or advertise the fact that that vehicle is not available to help anybody in need. It's simply a mechanic or a civilian operating it. That's a big deal. No gun on board, no arrest authority, and it's an issue when we're driving police cars around. Very often we're flagged down. People want help when they want help, and we're advertising. So if we're advertising as the helpmobile, and when if they put that out of service sign on there, that they're saying that they can't help. Or at least that person on there may not be capable of it. Let's see here. Are local police trained in commercial motor vehicle logs? Every officer is going to have a different level of experience. We have officers here at Traffic Services that are. There are officers who know that they need to look for an entry. There's different levels of experience. And the one that's going to give you a ticket is going to know what they need to know in order to write that ticket. They won't write a ticket for something they know nothing about. Let's see here. Thank you. This forum is fantastic. Thanks very much. Appreciate that you're enjoying it and getting value from it. Okay. Is headlight and taillight tint legal? Here's the deal. In order for your headlights and taillights to be legal, they have to be discernible at 150 meters. They have to be functional, usable. You need to be able to alert people that you're on the road so people can see you when they're approaching. One of the biggest causes of collisions when you're not at fault is being run into. Often that's because they can't see you or they don't notice you. So anything you do to reduce visibility is going to your detriment. And when we inspect your vehicle after a collision and find tint, that's going to go in the report, which is going to be seen by your insurance company, who's going to be unimpressed. And you might be somehow at fault for the collision that you weren't otherwise at fault for. Additionally, your headlights need to actually light up the road in front of you. So if they are interfering with the ability to do that properly, they would be potentially illegal or improper. At the end of the day, I think it's a really bad idea. It may look cool, but it's not cool. Can these e-bikes be more regulated? That's a follow-up question to the qualifying requirements of an e-bike, of the ones that look like motorcycles. We'll probably see changes in the future where they become low-speed motorcycles. I think they were proposing this already. The ones that look like bicycles are e-bikes, and these others are people trying to get away with more, or manufacturers trying to basically get a vehicle on the road that shouldn't be on the road. So I think things will change in the future, but they haven't yet. Fingers crossed, we'll keep you posted. Okay. Just a reminder, please don't double ask, don't spam. If you ask your question once, we'll get to it. If you don't get to it, I'm sorry, but don't ask it 10 times because we'll guaranteed not touch it. Okay. What are you limited to do with your G1 license? Well, first off, you can't operate a motor vehicle without a supervising driver that's qualified to supervise. They have to have at least 4 years experience. That clock for them starts when they have a G2. So if they have 4 years experience and are the holder of a valid G, they can supervise a G1. Additionally, you can't drive on 400 series highways with a speed limit over 80 kilometers an hour. You cannot, what else can you not do? You can't have any alcohol in your system. I think that's pretty much it for G1s. G2s have some other stuff, but that's a different story. Will, good morning. No worries that you're late. It's all good. Okay. Can Uber use a taxi lane? Ubers are not taxis. I don't believe they can. They're not considered taxis. I'd confirm with the city of Toronto. It's going to change different jurisdiction to jurisdiction. I don't have an answer for that. I don't think that they are qualified. They aren't exempt for child seats either, so which makes me think that wouldn't be for the taxi lane because they're not taxis. If an e-bike hits a car at fault, who is sorry? If an e-bike hits a car, who's at fault? Oh, Ashton. Okay. If an e-bike hits a car and the just because the e-bike hits the car doesn't mean one or the other is at fault. It's what are the mechanics of the collision. So if the e-bike hits the car because the car made an illegal turn, the vehicle is going to be at fault. If the e-bike hits the car because they failed to stop for the stop sign, the e-bike's going to. So it depends on the mechanics of the collision. It's not as cut and dry as one versus the other. So a question Q is asking, if I remove the battery from an e-scooter, does it become legal to use? What's the context of that, though?
So an electric e-scooter becoming a kick scooter.
An e-kick scooter. Okay, so e-kick scooters in the city of Toronto are not permitted, but if you take the battery out, would it become legal? Yeah, if you're not running under power, if it's not functioning, I would say it is. It's no longer an e-kick scooter; it's a kick scooter at that point. It's not functional or capable. The problem is if you are using an e-kick scooter and you just turn it off, is it still legal? It's muddy. They are not permitted for use on any street, sidewalk, or park. And whether an officer is going to accept the fact that you weren't doing it, it'll be a question about the evidence provided. They may lay you a charge and not believe you. It'll be difficult for you to, if the battery is physically not present, I imagine you'll be able to make your case. But if it's just turned off, I don't think you would be able to. You may find yourself being charged. Let's see here.
There's a question in chat. Maybe you can hydrate and I could.
Sure. I was just thinking that's a good opportunity.
Okay. Can I take the muffler out of my car?
Can you take it out as long as you put it back before you drive? Mufflers are required equipment. It goes to, there's a ticket for improper muffler, so not having one would make sure it's improper. There's also unnecessary noise that sort of comes along with that, so you could be having two tickets for the price of one muffler not being there. Okay.
If it pops up in the QA, I'm sorry ahead of time because it's been asked multiple times in chat, but apparently couldn't read.
Which one?
Can I remove my muffler?
Oh, okay. Yes, it's all good. Muffler's a funny thing. Catalytic converters can't remove those either. Those are required, and you could be finding charges under the Environmental Protection Act for those. I know we talked about it earlier, but are there many civilian jobs? Yes, there are tons of civilian jobs. Whether there's postings today for it or not is a different situation. Caught that cue. When do you find out what points you get from a ticket? Each ticket's going to come with different points. The ministry might have a listing of them. In terms of how many points are attributed, it's not a court function. It's the ministry that applies them once you're convicted. We know when we're writing the ticket what we're giving you and what carries a certain number of points. You can always ask the officer when you're being charged if it includes points. But the truth is that points, although they matter because you accumulate them, and it's bad to have too many because you'll lose your license, any ticket, regardless of the number of points, is going to be affecting your insurance. Is there a no chase policy on a fleeing vehicle? No, there's no chase policy for a fleeing vehicle. Pursuits happen. Don't flee from the police because then additional charges are laid when we catch you. Whether we catch you by waiting at your house till you come home, or we catch you because a pursuit eventually ends, whatever the case may be, don't run from the police. It takes a potentially minor situation turning it into a major one. Do security vehicles have the right to pull over civilians? No, security vehicles do not have the right to pull over. They cannot make highway traffic act stops. They are not police officers. Security vehicles can turn their lights on and say that they're there, and that is it. They are not able to perform vehicle stops. That would be a problem. Now, if you're on private property and they approach you and they're investigating you, can they detain you? They're not detaining you by putting their lights on. There's no obligation to stop for amber lights. And they should not have anything but amber lights. Okay. Do you automatically fail a G test driving over the limit? I'm not the right person to ask because I do not know what their threshold is. Human Moves Day Camp. Want me to pick up your auction stuff? Yes, that would be great. Thanks, Mike. That's too funny. Okay. Okay. Neon, who's one of our moderators and happens to be a mechanic, says mufflers, resonator, catalytic converter, all equal required equipment. So having those removed would be ticketable or reasons to not pass a safety, I imagine. Let's see here. And Mike, no, I didn't book anything. Do you automatically... Okay, we already covered that one. Warning lights on dash. Will a tester cancel a road test? If the road, I imagine if the vehicle is not safe to be operated, I don't know if lights on a dash. Again, that's a great question for your driving instructor, for the Ministry of Transportation, for the drive test center, but I don't have an answer for you. If our friend, the safe driver, is in the room, maybe you could answer the question. Warning lights on a dash. Will the tester cancel the road test? I don't think that's the case, but maybe. Maybe, maybe not. Tips to pass a G2 second attempt. You need to know your stuff. You need to be a confident driver. You need to pass or drive legally and safely. But I couldn't tell you specific tips. Make sure that you've practiced and read up on your rules. With schools open, school bus rules. So Toronto school buses and everything comes into play tomorrow. We're doing a big push with social media then. But absolutely, school bus rules, always important to review. The deal is when the stop sign is out, you must stop. And that's if it's a undivided highway or road, it's everyone in both directions must come to a complete stop while that stop sign is out. Excuse me, and not to proceed until it's in again. And that's pretty much the deal. Give lots of space and be very cautious around school buses because kids are unpredictable. So you have to predict or expect the unexpected when you're dealing with schools and students loading and unloading. So please park where it's legal. If you're dropping kids off, please don't obstruct areas where school buses need to maneuver. Parking enforcement is going to be out. School or police officers are going to be out enforcing rules. All of these things are serious, and we want to make sure our students who are our most vulnerable get to school safely. What happened to you? Did the mic go hot? Oh, weird. We don't know what happened there. From the safe driver, warning lights can in fact cancel the test. Good to know. I know for next time. So warning lights can cancel your test. Thanks very much, Scott. Scott's the safe driver. Check him out. Follow him on the TikTok right now. Right now you can follow him. What can you do if you can't afford a ticket? Well, you can do a couple things. You can choose to drive safely so you don't get tickets. That's probably the easiest way to avoid having issues if you have financial issues and you are driving out of necessity. So changing your behavior to avoid the ticket altogether. But you're in a situation maybe where you have the ticket already. You can go to court and you can explain that you have financial hardships. And very often, even if you're guilty, they'll find out a payment plan. So you may say, okay, I can afford the $60, $100, or $200 if I have 6 months to pay. But I can't pay it all at once because I got to pay for food and rent, and they'll take that into consideration, and very often they'll give you a payment plan. Okay. Swerving in own lane should be illegal, Discord asked. Swerving, that kind of behavior is going to get you pulled over and investigated for impaired driving. It's silly. If you're on a motorcycle, you don't need to warm up your tires that badly. You shouldn't be needing that kind of, stiction. That kind of traction, stiction. What kind of words can I make up? I'm making Q lose her mind. I make up words occasionally just so Q can be upset.
I quit.
Okay. What is this? Do I need to stop when turning right on a red? Yes. You need to stop when stoplights are for any direction that so if you're going, what you're going to do after you cross the red light is a second situation. You need to stop. You need to then determine whether it's safe to proceed, and only when it's safe to proceed can you. You can't make that determination until after you come to a stop. It is a charge of running a red light. It does carry 3 demerit points. Don't do that.
What about signage? What about signaling?
Oh, yes, that's the second part of your quitting. Yes, you should be signaling your turn. You should be checking for signage to ensure that it's legal to do so, because there are intersections where you are not allowed to make the right on a red. So these are things that are, to me, I take into consideration, or at least make assumptions about in the question NQ. So that, likes to make point of the fact that we can't make assumptions. We must always assume that there could be a sign. And she's right. If Q quits, we all do, Neon says. Oh no,
No,
you're
okay.
creating a union.
To be fair, there's only one specific intersection that really triggers me with a signage that says no right turn on a red. So that's why I keep saying make sure there's no signage there.
Yes, this is a good point. Q can't quit. You got a lot of support here, Q. The mods will not allow you to go. How many cracks are you allowed to have on your front windshield? You shouldn't have any cracks in your front windshield. However, if your windshield is cracked and it's not obstructing your view, the issue is obstruction. If your cracks are obstructing your view, that's the biggest problem. Now, is it safe to have cracks in your windshield? No, and I've had a windshield completely smash out and end up in my lap, and that was with no cracks, one amount of snow thrown onto my windshield from a passing vehicle. On the other side, it was opposing traffic, and it was a mess. I was driving southbound on the 404, and a northbound semi was shooting ice and slush across all lanes that were southbound, and my windshield ended up in my lap, and it was wild. And this is going to date the event, but just as I opened my eyes again after my new air conditioning was installed by way of removing the windshield, I saw a Honda Del Sol do like 7 360s as it smashed into the center. It was that 18-wheeler that was going north destroyed so many vehicles and created so many collisions. I used to really like the Del Sol. I couldn't fit into a Del Sol, but I really liked it, especially with the funky target top. Okay. My license expires the same time as my suspension. Okay, when were you, or when is your suspension and expiry? Because if is it a full license or is it a learner's permit? There's all sorts of questions I have for you now. Okay. Can I take my G2 with my 12-month? Your 12-month what? What are you asking? You 12 months after you get your G1? Need to know more to answer your question. Okay. Let's see here. Tips. No, we already talked about this one. Tips for G2. Plate sticker. What do you pay? Example, I have a 2020 and a 19. So your 19 is not covered under any extension. That's not valid now. Your 19 needs to be renewed, and you're going to pay for the year where it was. They're going to charge you essentially for the time that's passed, I believe. 2020 for sure, if it's extended from, if it was covered under the extension from March 2020 onward. Everything that we've been told is that they're going to charge you for the time during the extension. So you pay for everything. You're going to pay for the 2 years that you haven't paid, or 1 year potentially, plus the year following. But yeah, no discounts, no free pony. Ashton wants to know if it's a 12-month child. Okay. Lost a parking ticket. Can I just pay in station with debit? Stations don't accept payment. The courts do. That is going to be a situation where until you know how much you owe, it's going to be hard for you to pay without your ticket that you lost. You could wait until you get a notice, or when you go to the ministry, they might be able to pull it up. I'd give them a call or check their website, and maybe they have some information, but I don't have an answer for that. Let's see here. Do police stop and ticket cars covered in snow? They have. It's an insecure load and potentially a visibility issue. So either obstruct the driver's view, or if it's on top of the vehicle and it's falling off, or if it's, depending on, every situation is different. But yeah, you can be stopped and ticketed for obstructed windows and having tons of snow on the roof. There's all sorts of issues there. And we already covered this. If warning lights are on, can a tester cancel test? Yes, according to the safe driver, they can. Are you allowed to install car stickers? Like peel and stick? If that's installation, then yes, you can, as long as it's not obstructing the driver's view. Then that's not an issue. Stickers don't require a permit for installation. They're usually peel and stick. Don't use scratch and sniffs on your car. They don't last in the rain. Okay. What highways in Ontario can you drive at 110? Are you only going to drive on those highways? I don't know. There's QEW, and someone said I think the 402, but I'm not familiar with any other that are 110. The fact is there's going to be signs, so drive at or below the posted speed limit wherever you are. Exceeding the speed limit. Interesting thing about stunt driving and these highways that are faster. So people say, well, 50 over is going to get me a stunt, so if I do 40 over, I'm safe. Technically, in a speed limit of 110, if you were to do 150, that is stunt driving. There is no, you're not allowed to exceed 150 kilometers, or I should say, at 150 kilometers an hour, you qualify for stunt regardless of the posted speed limit. Are we able to have a modified exhaust? As long as this exhaust is legal and you're not creating unnecessary noise, modified exhausts, that's a very open question. Depends on what you're doing. Oh, here's the answer for the 110 kilometers from the Safe Driver. Thanks. QEW Niagara, 502 Sarnia, 417 Ottawa. Did I call it a 402? I think I did. Yeah, these are highways I'm not familiar with. I don't go to Sarnia. I don't go to Ottawa. So I don't drive those. Okay. How do you actually measure tint? I don't. For the purposes of laying a charge, you need to be obscuring the interior of the vehicle so much so that I subjectively determine that I can't identify the driver. So at any tint level, under certain conditions, you might receive a ticket for obscuring the interior of the vehicle with a color coating or reflective coating. Now, you may go to court and say, no, that's not accurate. I had legal tint. That's a subject for you to discuss with the courts after the fact. The fact is the officer can lay it simply by an observation and a belief. No measurement required. Coffee. I have coffee. I've been using water, but I have coffee.
Does the coffee help better than the water?
This is very bubbly today, like very bubbly. I'm gonna switch to coffee now.
So did you make your coffee with Perrier?
No, the coffee's not bubbly. The Perrier is like super bubbly. I don't know what it is. I think last time I let it sit open and become flat. I'm not a bubbly water kind of guy. It just happens to be water, which I wanted. It's actually Brandon's water. Brandon may or may not have noticed I'm drinking his water. I gotta buy another case of water. Okay. A mechanic gave a safety and the car is not safe. Well, if you are unhappy with this, I would go and get it safety, and possibly report the mechanic so he can lose his license. I don't know why you. Yeah, I don't. There's a lot of questions I have about that, but yeah. Canadian bubbly coffee, no thanks, no kidding. Do you shop at Costco? Doesn't everybody shop at Costco? Let's see here. How old does my child need to be to ride a motorcycle as a passenger, or to be a passenger on a motorcycle? They need to have to be large enough, tall enough, so that their feet touch the pegs, the passenger pegs, and they have to have an appropriate helmet. There's no legal age. Now, my personal preference would be that they are mature enough that I feel comfortable they're going to hang on and not let go. That's a scary thing. My kids are not coming on the motorcycle until they're much older. Okay. Will they increase the speed limits because 100 is slow? I don't expect there to be many increases in speed. Everything we see from Vision Zero and studies suggest that slower is safer. We're seeing decreases in speed everywhere because we're trying to reduce serious injury and death on our roadways. Faster just makes more serious injuries in the event of a collision. Okay. Okay. Okay, the 4 years experience to teach driving count from G2. They're not teaching driving. Let's be clear. A supervising driver is supervising. By no means are they a teacher. You want teaching? Get a professional instructor. You want to figure it out and have some supervision so you don't do really silly stuff? That's someone supervising. The problem with the supervisors or using friends and family is they are very often teaching you their bad habits. So And yes, it does count from when they're G2, as long as they don't have any interruptions. If they had a suspension for a period of time while they had a G2, that time would not reflect their experience, and they would need another year on the other end. So 4 years uninterrupted from the time they got their G2, that would qualify as long as they had a full G. What is zero enforcement from the chat?
Dude, missed out vision. Zero.
Yeah, I was going to say Vision Zero. Vision Zero is we're actually having Shada from Vision Zero with the City of Toronto, but it's basically a concept that's been adopted in many countries, and it's multifaceted. It's both an enforcement side of things where we enforce laws to make sure people are doing the right thing and not speeding. We change speed limits and infrastructure and road design to be safer for vulnerable road users, pedestrians being one of those. It's a whole way of thinking, and we want to reduce serious injury and death on our roadways. One of the things that I take away and I love the most about Vision Zero is the concept that there's an understanding and acceptance that minor collisions are going to happen, but the ones that lead to serious injury and death are completely avoidable and unacceptable. So we need to do the things to change behavior so that we don't find people being killed, because we've lost too many people already. And if it was your friends or family that you were, losing because of someone who is breaking the law and driving in an unsafe manner, you would likely have, a very strong opinion about behavior. I've lost people, friends, due to collisions. I've known people when I was in high school who, lost a carload of friends in one shot. We go to collisions, we see horrific things, and very often it's speed that would have changed the severity of that end. Have I ever gone above the speed limit off duty? And if I say yes, will you say, well, there's a reason to be able to speed? And if I say no, will you say that I'm not telling the truth? I'm sure I've gone over the speed limit. There's no question that I've gone over at some point, whether I went 5 or 10 and then I corrected myself. Why? Because I don't want to get a ticket. I was going recently. I was on a road that I believed was 60. Turns out it was 50. I may have a ticket coming in the mail. We're going to find out because it's new speed limits have been reduced. So I was looking at a speed camera and I went, holy moly, there's a speed camera here. Luckily, I'm doing the speed limit. Then I see a speed limit sign. Things have changed. You got to pay attention. I'm sure I've gone over a speed limit unintentionally. On duty, absolutely, because that's part of the job. I have to go above the speed limit in order to catch up to the next person who's speeding. Different situation, but I'm not a habitual speeder. It's not a good idea. I believe in the Vision Zero stuff. I want the roads to be safer. I also don't want to pay the gas. It's not, when you pay your own bills, you make your own money. Why would you want to waste it just because you want to go faster? My favorite thing is when people pass me and they're aggressive, and then I get to the stoplight and I look over and it's still them. I always wave. I think they're silly. Okay. Should driving school be mandatory for new drivers? It's not my place to make those laws. If I was King of Canada, I would certainly make that a law. I am not King of Canada, though, so not up to me, but I think it would be a great idea. Do you work while driving school and pull students over? Huh? No, I'm a police officer. I don't work for a driving school. Let's see here. We covered the logbooks and CMVR stuff. What engines are in cop cruisers? Motor vehicle. They're usually the same manufacturer as the vehicle that they're in. They're engines. I don't know. Whatever comes with the car. And the reason I don't know is because it's irrelevant to me. If it's a 6-cylinder, an 8-cylinder, a turbo, and not a turbo, it's a car. Is it illegal to avoid a ride check? It's illegal to drive impaired. What happens is when people avoid ride checks, it's usually an indication that they've got something to hide. That usually triggers a stop and a subsequent investigation, which usually leads to someone being arrested for impaired driving. Just saying. Is it specifically illegal to turn around? I don't think there's a specific law. I might be wrong. Maybe there's a don't turn around near a ride program law. I have to look it up. Now you got me thinking. To me, it's called a clue. Can you comment on a right on red light rules? I feel like we've talked about this one already. Right on red lights? As long as it's legal to do so, you got to come to a complete stop before you make your right on red. It has to be not signed otherwise. In other words, it has to be a no. There cannot be the presence of a sign that says no right on red. It has to be safe to do so. Oh, Sean wants to know if it's if police service should start integrating electric vehicles into the fleet. I think they're experimenting. I'm seeing a lot of surrounding services have some hybrids. We've had hybrids before, but are they ready to go out as regular vehicles? I don't know if I'm ready to drive an electric vehicle that needs to be charged. Our vehicles run 24/7. There's no downtime for 12 hours of charging. I don't know how that would work. Do you miss driving the Crown Victorias? I do. I used to love them. I fit nicely in them. It's a big guy car. I'm a big guy. How long do street signs have to be replaced? I haven't a clue. That's a good 311 question. Not for me, though. I don't know when street signs wear out. I guess when you can't see them. Okay. Anything in the while I'm reading here, looking through the Q&A, is there anything coming in from the chat?
No, just typos.
Okay, typos everywhere. Are plate covers illegal? It's light gray. Yes, you can't have anything on your plate cover. You cannot obstruct your plate in any way. Doesn't matter if it's clear, if it's just a border. Anything that obstructs the actual license plate is against the rules, and you can be charged. So light gray, clear, if there's any. I don't have an issue with most clear plates as long as they're manufactured in such a way that they don't interfere with your ability to read the plate. Very often they have thick corners and bends and whatnot, and you can't actually read portions of the plate, and that might result in a ticket. Okay. Is there a load limit for carrying items on top of your motor vehicle? It has to be, if you have a roof rack, it's going to have a weight rating, the maximum weight rating, and the appropriate straps must be used. So yeah, there are limits. The biggest issue is going to be whether or not it's secured safely. You holding a mattress when you're coming back from the store with your driver's right hand and the passenger's left. Driver's left hand, passenger's right. Not a rated mode of securement. Okay. Let's see here. Irene says good morning. Do you guys have a Bearcat? Seeing as I don't know what a Bearcat is, I'm going to assume no, we don't have a Bearcat. But I don't know what it is. Is that what is that? That sounds like a brand name. So what's its function? What's the tool called? How much is the fine if your car is straight piped? It's truly straight pipe, meaning no catalytic converter, no thing. You're probably going to lose your license plate. So you're going to get tickets under the Environmental Protection Act. You're going to get tickets under the improper muffler. You're going to, then you're going to get tickets for the unnecessary noise. So you're probably going to end up upwards of $350, $400. But it depends on what you're being charged for. Oh, that's a Bearcat, huh? I don't know. We have some armored vehicles, but I don't know if it's the armored vehicle you're asking about. I don't know if that's the one we have, but our emergency task force does have an armored vehicle. I just don't know what brand it is. Let's see here. Ibby says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Let's see here. I got my G1 in July. I didn't do driver's ed when G2. 12 months. That means you'd have to wait until July of next year. If you do take the training course, it's 8 months. Police vehicles have a slightly faster tune on them. Couldn't tell you. Don't know. Most of what we do, we don't need to go super fast. We're city cops. We're not racing people on the highway. That's not to say they don't go quickly. And at the end of the day, there's nothing faster than a police radio. Okay. I work at Tim's. Yes, we do offer free coffee. That's very kind of you. It's not necessary, but it's very kind. We got a lot of questions about engines in police cruisers. That's, we haven't been getting a lot of this. According to here, do pedestrians bear any responsibility on the road? Sure they do. They need to act accordingly and follow the rules of the road too. When is it legal to ride in the back of a pickup truck? It's not. You got to be sitting in a seat with a seatbelt. And it needs to be a proper seat, not one that you bolted to the back. Oh, or as Q says, when it's parked. Okay. Legally parked. Let's not mess around. It has to be legally parked. Let's see here. Friend just got G2, can drive my car if not insured. Let's specify. A motor vehicle in the province of Ontario must be insured to drive on the road. If the vehicle is not insured, no one's driving it, right? Because it's a $5,000 to $25,000 fine for driving with no insurance. If you mean, does your friend need to be named on the policy? From a police perspective, naming on the policy isn't required. From an insurance perspective, that might be required by your insurance company. In other words, if your friend smacks up your car and isn't named, your insurance company may choose to deny the claim. And you can generally, and it depends on the insurance company and what they say in their policy with you, but generally speaking, you can license or lend to another licensed driver your vehicle. They may have requirements of age, they may have requirements excluding certain people. You need to talk to your insurance company. When can kids ride in the front seat? A question for Amanda, and she's not here. Oh my goodness. The answer is there's no age limit. Now, if they're in child restraints, if they have a child's car seat, there are suggestions and legalities to being close to a airbag. So we always suggest children should be in the back seat, regardless of whether they're legally allowed to be out of a restraint or not. We say stay in the back seat until you're 14. 14 years old, you can come to the front seat safely. So otherwise, whether they're in a seat or not, we say go in the back. It's not a popular answer, but it is the answer for safety. Is a university degree good when trying to be a cop? Yes, it's a competitive process. Being the best candidate you can be is always the way to go, and a university degree is good. A master's degree is better. The better you look on paper and are in person, the higher your chances of moving forward. Pre-modified cars from dealerships, mufflers, ? Well, I don't know what you're asking me. You're saying that if a dealership sells a car without a muffler, you are still responsible for it. Just because you bought it that way doesn't mean it's allowed to be illegal. What is the lamest excuse for speeding you've heard? Oh, I've heard so many. The truth is excuses don't work with me, so tickets happen. Usually I have to poo is usually the most common. Is it lame? Is it legit? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I followed someone to, I pulled someone over. That was their excuse. I followed them to the closest bathroom. I typed up their tickets while they were taking care of their business, and they got their tickets when they came outside. If what they did, or whether it was real or not, they wasted 10 or 15 minutes in a behind closed doors inside of a gas station, came out and they received their tickets. You're never allowed to go and break the rules and put people's safety at risk. Highway limit is 110 and I'm going 125. Will you stop me? Well, I don't police an area that has a 110 kilometer speed limit. So you're saying 15 over the posted speed limit. Will I stop you? Well, I'm not going to be there, so I won't do it. But can you be stopped? Is it legal for a police officer to stop you at 125? Absolutely. Will they stop you? I don't know. Depends on the officer who's dealing with you that day. They may decide that that is worthy of being stopped, and others may not. At the end of the day, why are you speeding? Slow down. Enjoy the ride. Okay. Can I take the muffler out of my car? I don't know if this was the same person before, but no, you cannot. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
It was the same person?
Yeah.
Okay. Is a class still offered to get out of a ticket? No. There's no getting out of a ticket. You're issued a ticket. You can go to court. Maybe they'll offer you some kind of. I've never heard of that classes. In the States, that happens very often from the movies I've watched, but it's not something offered here. You may be sent after a certain number of tickets for some re-education. That's a points thing, but it's not a police function or a ticket getting out of situation. Okay. Can you immediately drive on the highway after getting your G2? Yes. Yes, you can. What time is it? Hey, look at that. It's 9:55. If you don't already follow us, please go and follow us. We love followers. It's good. It helps our egos. It just helps you get notified when we go live and when we drop new content. And we do have great things to tell you, and we have access to news and information. You're obviously going to hear it here first, at least on TikTok. Okay. What else can I tell you? 10:15, we're going to be joined by Shada from Vision Zero Toronto. We are going to be talking about all sorts of stuff in Toronto about turning in safety. What are we talking about? We're talking about a left-turn calming pilot. That's one of the topics we'll be talking about. So if you're interested in that, join us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, even on I Lost Connection. What's going on here? Now we're back. We're having issues with the computer connection.
You're having issues with chat too, but can you show chat your mic?
My mic? Yes, this is my mic today. This is a Audio Technica mic running through a Scarlett Focusrite DAC. That's my setup today. I was using a different mic before, but because of the setup I've started using, which is using Restream and going through the computer so I can loop Q into the game, I've decided to stick with this setup, even though I really like my other mic. That was noisy. My apologies. That's the mic I was using, and I really do like this mic. It's the Hyper X. So the quad something? I don't know. It's a mic. It works.
Somebody asked, what do you consider too loud of music playing in your car?
If I can hear it on the street and you're obstructing, or not obstructing, but basically bothering everybody else, if people are turning to look at you, you're making a spectacle, you're disturbing their peace and quiet, yeah, that's going to be an issue, and that it's going to be different for every officer. If you're really just, it also time of day might affect the decision, but it's going to be an interpretation of and observations made by the officer. It's not a cut and dry situation. Thank you for doing these, from Raymond. You're most welcome. We do these all the time. It's great. We love the fact that we can engage everybody and chat and answer your questions and be here to help everyone out. It's awesome. We really like it. And you know what? We're here all the time. Even if the chat or the live isn't going live, we are answering comments and questions that are in the Q&A section, in the comments in our videos. So just because we aren't live doesn't mean you can't ask the question. We will get to you. You can also hit us a DM. That works too. Or you can become a member of our Discord server, or you can get us on Twitter or Facebook or everywhere else that we're hanging out, because we are everywhere. And with that, let's see if there's anything that I can throw out before we wrap up for the day. I say for the day, for 15 minutes until we go on to our other stream. Okay. How do I report a driver on their phone? Well, chances are by the time the report gets to us and we find that the driver, they will have put their phone away. Chances are. But you can make a report. You can go to our website, www.torontopolice.on.ca/core, CORE. And what that's going to do for you is bring you to our citizen online reporting entry tool. You can go in and do a driving complaint with their license and information. And what will happen is it'll be assigned to an officer. The officer will investigate, and chances are with an event like that, they're simply going to send them a letter to the registered owner's house saying on this date and time they were observed using their phone, explain to them what the rules are, and maybe it'll change their opinion and their behavior, but it is a good question. Let's see here. already says, sorry, I missed today. Well, you're here. You didn't miss us. But no, don't worry about missing us. We'll be back tomorrow. And you know what? This is a good time to mention next week. Next week, we will not be going live at a regular time. We're going to be going live at night, which might be really great for some and not so great for others, but we're going to try it out. I will be out of town. I'm on a training course at the Ontario Police College. As a result, I will be in class instead of here. And when I'm back and off duty, I will come in and do a live for everybody at night. It'll be a weird setting, but we'll do it because I don't want to leave you hanging for a week. So with that, we're going to shut her down. Come join us on the other platforms, and we'd love to see you when Shada joins us at 10:15. Check us out on Twitter, YouTube, or any of the other platforms we're hanging out at, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye, TikTok.
And the wave.
Done.
Okay. And that's it. So what's going on here with folks who are still here on the tube of you? YRP has on setup reveal when? Oh, setup reveal. I've posted pictures of the setup. Maybe I'll put I took a picture of it earlier because I did a weird setup today, which actually I think it worked really well. Yeah. What do you think? This worked out pretty good. I will post it to my my Insta. That's what I'll do. I'll post it to Instagram and on my my other stuff. So cool. We're going to shut this one down. We'll see you in 15 minutes.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.